Kia ora. This video is a bit of a follow-up on the last one I did where I show you how we put down a hāngī, but today I'm going to break down our biochar production process in a bit more detail. The most common methods out there for creating biochar focus usually just on burning the wood, which for us seems a bit of a waste of a good fire, and not exactly the most energy efficient way of doing things. So in the Pacific here, we love our hāngī or umu, and it's traditionally a preferred cooking method, and as a bonus it's also a very effective way of producing biochar. So with a hāngī you get like a double deal. You're utilising the energy of burning wood to feed a heap of people, and you're also creating biochar to feed the soil, which is going to boost your crop productivity. The secret to creating biochar is to deprive your fire of oxygen, and that's exactly what happens when you cook a hāngī. First of all, you burn in your fire in a kind of an earth oven pit, and you have a pit which is kind of like a cone or bowl shape, and this is probably the best shape in terms of restricting airflow and intensifying the heat, which is important for heating up the rocks. You want our rocks to be white hot. The hāngī pits, usually they're kind of square or rectangular, and those ones still do the job fine. I just find my ones it produces better char, and it still cooks. So just my personal preference. The rocks also cover the wood while it's burning, and this also restricts the amount of airflow in there during the burning process. And once the rocks become quite hot, the coals and ash are often removed from the pit, and then the food placed over that, and only but that's just an optional practice, and I don't bother with that. I just leave the coals in there, and I kind of like the flavour that it gets, the smokiness just under the rocks. And then our food is placed over the top of the rocks, and then we completely cover the whole pit with leaves, and then dirt over the top of the leaves. And this not only steam cooks the food, but it also it kind of infuses the bottom of the pit where the coals are with steam, and so that's, that kind of, it's totally smothered, and it deprives the coals of oxygen and preventing them from turning to ash. And so that whole hāngī process, it really limits the amount of airflow, which is what you want for producing charcoal. Once our food is cooked and we remove it from the umu, we always drench the whole pit with water, because as soon as they're exposed to air, they'll reignite again, and then they'll keep burning into ash. So I fill the whole pit with water, leave it overnight, and then the next day I'll remove the coal from the pit. And you can either do two things from here. You can either activate it by either adding urine, compost or chicken manure, adding it with water and leaving it marinate for a couple of weeks, or the other option is just to spread it in the chicken coop and just let the chickens inoculate it with their manure. And then once it's activated, we'll then take it out of there and spread it around the garden. I always, when I spread the charcoal, I'll always cover it with another layer of mulch as well, and this just helps to further activate it. In the old days, the coals and ash were often amended mainly directly to kumara, sweet potato beds, but I spread it everywhere just to condition the soil. By definition, once coal is added to any organic matter like soil, it basically becomes biochar, and along with all the other layers of mulch, the charcoal, the ash, the manure, kitchen compost, it all adds to the fertility and structure of the soil. One of the best things about charcoal is that it holds a lot of water, and it holds spaces in the charcoal for fungal microbes and nutrients, where it can be stored over a long period and then just released gradually. So it's a really effective long-term soil builder and fertilizer. It's a soil amendment which a lot of indigenous cultures have been using for ages, so it works really well. The most famous example probably being in the central Amazon, where they use biochar and charcoal for what they call it terra preta, which is kind of like a black soil which they've created over time. The other benefit of biochar is that it sequesters carbons, and I'm not going to get into that today, but there's already a heap of information out there on that, and today I just wanted to show you how we just blend our traditional cooking methods of Hāngī, of using umu with biochar, so you get that double deal. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Mauri ora.